Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about an important topic today. I'm talking about the Uranus Retrograde in Taurus that are having, which is going to be in effect from August 24th, 2022 until January 22nd of 2023. I'm really excited to be making this content today because I think that window of time, that August to January time, is really going to be a life-changing window for a lot of people. We have a big shift in material circumstances, a big shift also in commitments, and just like the 3D world happening, being that Uranus is in the fixed Earth sign of Taurus alongside the North Node in Taurus, opposing, of course, the South Node in Scorpio. In this video, I will be speaking intuitively about this transit, and I will be kind of linking it to some of the previous installments I've made about the nodal paradigm that we're in right now, the North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio, as well as the 2022 year-ahead forecast and mid-year forecast. So definitely check those videos, which I will link below and in the top right-hand corner if you would like more reference points for this video. Before we get into the video, everyone, I definitely would like to invite you over to my Patreon page. Every week on Patreon, I post weekly forecasts where I talk about intuitive messages. I talk about the week ahead from an astrological point of view. And it's a wonderful premium content that we really enjoy. I love the community over there, and that premium content is only available over there. You can also get the monthly readings early and ad-free on Patreon, along with all the extendeds. So if you would like to support this channel, help to keep it possible, and get some awesome premium content, definitely check that out. I will link it below. Okay, everyone, so yes, I'm very intrigued by the energy coming up here because it's a very decisive Uranus retrograde energy. So, of course, the planet of Uranus is related to innovation. It's related to unconventionality, doing things differently, doing things in ways that are not typical. Uranus is connected to the archetype of the rebel, connected to any type of conflict as well, you can see in the planet of Uranus, because in order to innovate, there has to be some type of conflict. There has to be some type of problem to spur the energy of innovation. Without problems, without conflicts, without inconveniences, without direct problems, we cannot really actually evolve very easily. And I feel that this Uranus retrograde in Taurus is really setting the stage for a major evolution, or for some people it may even be happening now. But it may not come without a bit of a battle. So for those of you who have been having battles, or for those of you who've been having a lot of conflicts, this could actually be the easier part of it, because we've been having Saturn-Uranus squares ever since 2021. We're moving in October up to the final one of those in this cycle. And I feel for a lot of people that will be the pinnacle or the climax point of certain conflicts or battles. And it also may be a resolution point for those people who have really faced it head on and who have really not procrastinated or not tried to avoid necessary conflicts. But yes, because Uranus is getting so advanced, because it has the nodes empowering it by very close degrees as it goes retrograde. In fact, as Uranus starts to go retrograde, it actually moves in tandem with the nodes. So we have Uranus and the nodes in a similar area of Taurus, both moving backwards through the sign of Taurus. So we get a very interesting motion happening astronomically in the solar system, where of course the nodes always move backwards, right? They're always moving in retrograde, as they are points of the moon, and then Uranus moves retrograde. It starts to kind of move in tandem with the nodes, so we start to see this conflict, or these battles that we've been having, or these problems express themselves as a greater sort of collateral of our own growth in personal value, our own growth in relevance, our own growth in fortitude and formidability as well. We start to be able to draw the dots, or draw a connecting point between the battles and the conflicts, and then also the growth that we're having. So I feel that no battles are in vain, no conflicts are in vain, but we really want to see over this period of time, from August until January, we want to see that some of the battles really are wrapping up, okay? In fact, I feel that there are many people who have to just authorize an ending, okay? Especially moving up to this October window. The August to October window is very much like, okay, I have to end this conflict, or I have to move on from a battle. There's a feeling of having to have that victory, or for some people having to have that defeat, of a line really being drawn, or a conclusion really being drawn on a very long-running momentum, okay? And I feel that for everybody, whether you associate the situations you're going through right now with a victory or with a defeat or with anything in between, that can be a victory for you. As also we really start to see with the way that Uranus is moving in tandem with the nodes, we start to see how much some of our difficult circumstances, how much some of our betrayals, how much some of our traumas have become such a motivational fuel for our momentum now. So this is a very scene within the South Node in Scorpio. To me, the South Node in Scorpio really evokes this feeling of my difficulty, the hard stuff I went through, the things I never thought I could bounce back from are now pushing me to actualize in a way that I may have always been entitled to actualize, but at the same time, would I have done it without these difficulties, without these questions posed by worrisome or painful scenarios? So this is not something we need to obsess on too much. We don't need to get like a huge anti-purpose or a huge like complex around like, as I go through difficulty or harshness, I do better. But it would not hurt some of you, for many people, it would not hurt to start seeing that sort of infinite level of potentiality where the difficulties really can become incredible tickets to greater heights, okay? So greater heights do start to come into visibility during this Uranus retrograde. And again, once it hits that square point with Saturn in October, also the nodes really start to outpace Uranus, and they kind of move on and move into the first decan of Taurus and Scorpio and move out of the orb. There's going to be a big question about repetitious conflicts. Okay, so things that happened in vain, conflicts we never had to have. If you can imagine like having the same argument with the same person over and over again, and it's like words go through one ear and out the other, and it's like you might find yourself like defending your positions or defending a certain point, and basically like it's a lot of hot air at the end of the day, or there's something about it that just goes on a kind of loop. We have to really start identifying these things, and I think that these they're almost like little hidden gems all across the different sectors of our lives, where we have these like loops, or we have this energy of hot air that has to be worked out. Okay, there's a big feeling of reduction coming in throughout this Uranus retrograde, as we might find that a lot of the problems, a lot of the conflicts are not as much a need for innovation, but more a need for, more of a need for greater precision and greater foresight within what we take on. I feel that a lot of the difficulty of this current time has to do with trusting too much in something that is not very well functional, or something that is not very efficient. So there could be, with Uranus retrograde in Taurus and then moving to square, applying to square Saturn in Aquarius, there's a feeling of trust in the inefficient, or trust in the non-functional, or also like the trust in empty words, or the need to also like proselytize people, or the need to try to create slogans, or the need to create certain vocal dynamics or cues that are perhaps not meaningful. So let's talk about the voice, right? The sign of Taurus rules over the voice. It rules over the throat. It rules over the neck. And I feel that this Uranus retrograde has a lot of us rethinking our communication style, has a lot of us asking, what am I using my voice for? What am I saying? What are people saying to me? I think that the methods that some people have had to talk their way through things, or the methods that some people have had to, uphold certain aspects of themselves, decisions, or even immoralities with a certain ability to gossip or convince or persuade or anything like that. I feel that also gets turned on its head with this Uranus retrograde. So there is a feeling of like, can you back up what you're saying? There is a feeling of, when we're speaking or when we're communicating or when we're using our valuable voices. Okay, the valuable voice with Uranus and Taurus. What does that mean to us? Okay, what does the sense of like valuing our vocal capability, can we value that more? I feel like a lot of things have been said in vain over this period of North Node in Taurus and Uranus in Taurus. I feel like there's been a lot of like maybe unnecessary arguments, maybe a lot of gossip, maybe a lot of correspondence, even like a communication that's not just vocal, but like, texting, emails, anything that is creating that feeling of communication could have been really frivolous. Okay, look into frivolous communication. Look into also like saying too much about things, like revealing perhaps your trade secrets or something, and then you see that everybody's implementing that or everybody's doing that, and there's not much to be done about it, or there's not much to really say because it's kind of like out. So this is definitely about social media as well. This is about, the sort of free and open market of ideas and correspondence that happens within that and the way that people communicate. I think getting a big change over this Uranus retrograde in Taurus. I think that it could be retrograde. So watch out for what you're saying on social media. Watch out for also how you're speaking to your loved ones. Okay, conflict with family. With Uranus retrograde in Taurus, especially as it moves up to square Saturn, I feel that people are very detached from feelings of like familial security with the Saturn in Aquarius square Uranus and Taurus. I think that a lot of people like are only caring about money or are only caring about material aspects represented by certain important relationships rather than the actual beauty of the relationship at hand. So there's a big call, I think, with this Uranus retrograde over the next few months to reconsider what value is. Okay, Uranus retrograde in Taurus means there's a very negative loop or consideration regarding value and regarding what we consider to be materially valuable, what we consider to be vocally valuable, what we consider to be communicatively valuable. All of this becomes such a central theme over the next few months, and we have work to do. Okay, I feel so strongly that if you can work over these oncoming months to increase the value of your own communication, okay, to cut down on frivolous or unnecessary communications, also to really start to focus less on certain materialistic avenues. I think that that's very oversatiated right now. So there's a major insatiability with themes of money, themes of materialism with the Uranus and the North Node in Taurus. And the South Node in Scorpio is down there kind of as like a dead ringer. And by the time we get to Scorpio season with like the lunar eclipses and stuff, we're going to see what that side of the equation has been. That's been kind of operating underground, okay, throughout this entire nodal paradigm, the South Node in Scorpio. And a lot of attention has really been diverted to Uranus and the North Node, also with that conjunction we had with Mars, Uranus and the North Node, that really sent people's attention to that. And I also feel that by Scorpio season, there can be kind of like even like a dizziness or a vertigo just because we didn't actually grasp like what we were tapped into or what we were saying. So also like trying to shock people or like shock factor stuff, saying things that are just really, really abysmal, or saying like I feel that there could be kind of a desensitization to certain vocabularies or a desensitization to certain emotional conflict with loved ones or with even professional relationships. You could see that there's a major de-evolution of professionalism. Okay, so like in the workplace, you might be talking about like your dating life, or you might be talking about, or even having like conflicts or fights with people that can actually derail things in adjacent sectors of your life. So somehow like the career gossip or the workplace frivolous correspondence somehow like transfers over to your like personal life in some way. So we have to really keep boundaries in mind right now too, as I think maybe the entire difficulty of the Saturn-Uranus squares over the last few years have had to do with boundaries and have had to do with, what are one's personal limits? How much can one take on at once? How much different sectors of life can one uphold independently and without reliance on others? We've been really tested on themes of reliance, themes of independence, and I think that that's also been an area of positive growth, which will continue to be reinforced by this Uranus retrograde, is like how much you can actually do in your own authority, independently on your own. How much you can choose. And we have to, I think, take that to another level over these oncoming months. And that feels like one of the most important things I can say is like, okay, now you might have proven to yourself that you can get yourself together in XYZ ways, but now can you take it to the next level where you're not, reinforcing bad blood, where you're not having frivolous conflicts with people, where you're not creating negative memories for other people, or also creating, this is important, okay, especially in the August to October phase. Watch out for putting people in kind of like zero-sum game situations, or like trying to, or not even trying to do it, but like leading to, like through your own communicative ability, leading another person to face a very difficult decision, or delegating something that's really, really hard to, face just to someone else, even though it's like your own issue. I feel that there is an issue of people not being super sensitive to what others have to go through, a major lack in empathy. And that might just be where like a lot of people are seeing the biggest collateral damage of this transit. Because I do feel that that was actually the first thing that I wrote down when I was seeing a Uranus retrograde in Taurus, as it kind of moves with the North Node in Taurus and applies to square Saturn in Aquarius. That to me is the energy of collateral damage. So it is very easy to have like, that manifest in a very obvious or direct way through like a physical collateral damage, like you could have, I don't know, like rental properties that need work, or like needing to do renovations, or even having like storms or natural disasters that lead to like physical collateral damage. But I'm also feeling it in a very relationship oriented way, because this is Taurus and it's not just about money and materialism. It's also about relationships, and it's about love, and it's about really like a kinship as well. So there can be collateral damages in those areas too. So be careful about frivolous conflicts. You don't maybe know how much collateral damage is done, especially when they get super repetitive, right? Like we're talking about these repetitious conflicts, when those same conflicts are happening over and over again over a period of years in the family, or in the marriage or whatever, that is a long-term collateral damage that is difficult to measure until like you're totally immersed in it. Okay. So that could also be happening during this Uranus retrograde. You might have that immersion moment where you're like, oh my gosh, so these like 6 years of this same exact argument has now led to a complete, wave of toxicity into my life. And then there's a big realization point with that, and with the way that, refusing to come to a resolution, refusing to also accept like another person's freedoms, or another person's ideas, while also like seeing what that suggests about how much they care about you is very difficult as well. Like, it's hard, I think, with this fixed energy of Uranus to accept, no as an answer, or to accept also that people won't assuage to some of one's own ideas about how things could be better. So like this drive to make things better, and the way that that's impacting relationships, the way that some people do and don't agree, I feel has everybody in a feeling of like collective collateral damage. And as we move to the more advanced parts of this Uranus retrograde in Taurus, like hitting late 2022 and the calendar new year, I mean, in fact, Uranus is even in shadow until May of 2023. So it goes direct on January 22nd, but it's going to remain in that shadow degree span for a few more months after that. So these value questions, these questions of equity, these questions of appropriation, these questions of where does value belong? What do I give value to versus what other people do, and what impact that has on our relationship? Okay, that is a very big general question. I wouldn't freak out too much about this type of stuff at this point, but it's really important to, I don't know, find ways to maybe connect more with people who have similar ideas or similar values right now, because I do feel that there is a point where this friction that I feel a lot of people have been very immersed in by perhaps being around or subject to very polarized value systems. On one hand, it's a great thing because people need to see other opinions and people need to be exposed to multiple different ways of thought. It's also very, I think, dangerous when you have this feeling of like one way being the only way, and that will be reinforced by the Jupiter-Neptune conjunctions. There can be like dogmas that come out of that, right? But then also when it's like really disorienting, like so many different things flying around and so many different, like people go into a kind of what I like to call glitching out in the fetal position when there's like too much stimulation of like a value crisis. So I feel it's more on that side right now, and we have to think about coasting more with people who maybe have similar beliefs or people who have similar outlooks. And then as we start to maybe connect more and compromise more with people, there is a feeling of moving ahead truly, okay? Like getting true progress or getting a true kind of material windfall could come in. Also, this Uranus retrograde, being that it's getting so advanced, it's moving in tandem with the North Node. Like some people could get huge financial windfalls, huge winnings, okay, with this energy, promotions, major career trajectory, major level up in society, because that's very rare for Uranus and the North Node to kind of move in tandem like that. So it can also be very a feeling of overreaching or a feeling of only focusing on things like career or business or finance. It can go way into the over-focused, overdone feeling, which has been in effect for a while anyway. And I will say it could be hard at the very beginning of this transit to really hold this energy, but I'm already feeling this myself, and it's a very nice feeling with the comprehensive astrology happening right now. There's a feeling of an ability actually to just end some of these really painful stories. Okay, this is the South Node connection in Scorpio, moving up to this eclipse season in Scorpio season. There's a feeling of like finishing the unfinished business, okay? There's a feeling of such powerful closures coming up. And as I'm speaking about this, it almost sounds a little bit like the energy is like, whoa, that's kind of intense. And what I'm meaning with it is like, choosing at a deep philosophical level, do I choose as like a life motto to hold up repetitious, unnecessary conflicts? Do I choose as a life model to like gas up certain ideologies or gas up certain like hot air types of situations that lead to never-ending cycles? Okay, do I choose as a life philosophy to actually indulge in certain conflicts with loved ones, or actually indulge in certain practices or ethics as well that are so very greedy for some people? Okay, gotta watch out for the greed thing with the Uranus North Node in Taurus, alongside Pluto in Capricorn as well. And I can definitely say that I see a lot of people really leveling up and having a lot more feeling of ease and personal strength by just choosing to not any longer engage in certain never-ending cycles, never-ending negotiations, never-ending arguments, never-ending conflicts, but wrapping that up now and even making that very clear in as unconflict-oriented way as possible. Yes, this is not easy for everybody, and it's not something that everybody like just has the answer to. But in a lot of cases, it's just really vital to know what we have the power to participate in, okay, with this transit especially. And I think that might be the biggest question of the oncoming Saturn-Uranus square. In October, Saturn in Aquarius is about networks and participation. Uranus in Taurus is about innovations and value. So that power of participation, that power of yes or no, that power of presence and being present in certain situations and then not in other situations, being on certain calls and not on other calls, being in certain friend groups and not in others, being also with the food, right? Because Uranus and Taurus is very much about diet and food, and maybe like new types of diets, new types of foods, new types of recipes, choosing what we ingest, choosing what we are wearing as well. It's so comprehensive, the energy that we're in right now, and the choice power is actually off the charts, you all. And I want to really bring this to your attention as we get closer to concluding on this video. The choice power is off the charts, and a lot of people can't realize it. A lot of people don't want to see it, like how much power they have over their situation, how much control they actually have, what the power of just their presence or just their attention on certain things is. And I think that once we realize the amount of power we're giving something or someone just by being present in that argument, just by being present or even sharing certain information that might be better left private. Okay, there's a big question of what is private, what is public, what is also one's own knowledge, what is like shared with friends or shared with family. I think like there might be changes, maybe even moving to the more like strict area with like, okay, I do feel like I can share this with friends or I can't share this with friends. You know, maybe sharing like my bank balance with that person that I don't know too well. Is that really a great idea? Maybe sharing like my exact income with that person I don't know too well. Does that make sense? Broadcasting, you know, publicly or socially, one's like rank or one's like a house, you know, making videos in your house and then like people can like tell where you live or something. I think that a lot of people are really pushing the envelope with like how open or how sharing they are, and that might get very pointy around November. So I do want to really also prepare you all for a secure November, because it's a very strange kind of eclipse season during Scorpio season, and I do feel that any form of like dark energies or even you know, kind of carelessness can have quite harsh turnouts, because it's this Scorpio season coming on in 2022 is going to really get us calibrated when it comes to our own privacy, when it comes to our own power over what is ours and what is not ours, and it's going to really reassert feelings of ownership, feelings of you know, what one actually has power over, what one actually has control over. Okay, big control things. So for the control freaks of the world, this is a PSA warning. It's going to get a little bit crazy this Scorpio season. But for some people who also have not had that much or who have really struggled, there can be like a huge empowerment coming on too. It's kind of going both ways. And people who I think can be really responsible with like how they're contributing to certain anger dynamics, or choosing to take that higher road, choosing to like not have to assert what you feel to be true just to like show people that you know things. And then this creates a very kind of like angry sense of dominance. People who can, I think, rise above that, or people who can withhold that at this point, or who don't have to indulge in that, I think will be rewarded by November. And I also think that having a good knowledge about like what is on short shelf life in your experience, like what you know is coming to an end soon, whether it be certain jobs, life paths, even relationships, anything like that. If you feel like something is about to end, or if you feel like there is an ending, because it's a very intense time of like pending ending. Okay, it's an interesting concept, pending ending, like an ending that is in the pending phase, not yet done, not yet out of the experience, yet kind of understanding that it can't last that much longer, which can be very refreshing. Okay, I mean, depends on what is pending ending in your life, but really kind of seek out, you know, what could be a refreshing pending ending in my life. Okay, that's enough of the rhyming, but what could be a refreshing thing to not have to deal with anymore? Okay, Maybe it's a certain addiction. Maybe it's a certain life philosophy that's leading to constant conflict. Maybe it's a sector of the industry that you're in. Maybe it's look, there's so many things that can be nice to end, okay, or nice to not have to deal with anymore. Okay, you don't have to worry about certain things anymore over this coming time. Like, it's a really, really nice. But yes, there are some things that we don't want to let go of. There are some things we don't want to end, and that's very hard. And of course, I think people have it on both sides always in life, but it's going to be very strong on both sides over this next coming 6 months. And just really try to lean into that refreshing feeling of not having to deal with something anymore, not having to go through a certain hardship anymore, because that could be really possible for pretty much anybody to not have to be with a certain hardship they were with past this period of time. But yes, I will say, concluding on this video, the period of time between September 9th and October 1st, we do have Mercury and Uranus retrograde at the same time. Mercury in Virgo and Uranus in Taurus, and of course Pluto in Capricorn. So we have this kind of like Earth trine, Earth electrical energy, which is kind of hard. Yeah, you know, the Earth energy occupying Mercury and Uranus, which deal with the electric currents. They deal with nervous system, neurological complexity, also the grid or the power grid or any type of human-made grid as well that harnesses a lot of energy and creates greater outcomes or bigger outcomes for many people. All that kind of stuff is going to be a little bit haywire right now, and I would definitely prepare for glitches, for things perhaps breaking down, for things not being available, for delays, for even like power outages or some type of disruption in the supply could also happen. Having Mercury and Uranus retrograde at the same time is a double whammy, right? Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So I just want to alert you guys to that September 9th to October 1st period as a time to really give yourself extra margins, if you can, to really give yourself extra time to be places, not take on more than you need to. Okay, another download as I'm talking about this, that 10 of Wands energy that we've been identifying for a long time, that 9 of Wands energy, even that like a 8 of Pentacles energy, that has to really be tamed a little bit now in order to make this period of time feasible. Okay, so now we're not just kind of in the, you know, I chose to reduce my workflow, or I chose to reduce my spending budget, or I chose to make the necessary reductions. Now those choices could be made for us, okay? And this can very much manifest as like missing deadlines or just feeling frustrated. So if you feel frustrated, if you feel burned out, or if you feel like you're doing too much, overdoing things, this would be a wonderful time to implement, okay, especially before the main Mercury retrograde happening on September 9th. It would be a great time to implement reductions or to implement some type of abundance for yourself so that you don't have to struggle so much. Okay, we want to really see a reduction in struggle and a reduction in frustration. And some of the experiences are just going to be so beautiful once we get into Libra season, and especially the later part of Libra season and moving into Scorpio. I mean, these can be like life-changing opportunities coming in, a totally different path or a totally different flavorful feeling coming in. And we don't want to be unavailable for that because we're so burned out, or we're so busy, or we're so tied up in different places that we're not available for that. So it's very important to see what we've always maybe been capable of having, but we might have been too like busy or doing too many things that we didn't have to do. So that's going to be an important thing for a lot of people over this Uranus retrograde in Taurus as well, is like time appropriation, or like with Pluto and Capricorn too, and the Mercury retrograde in Virgo. What do I allocate my time to? What do I allocate my resources to? Big question of the way that time and resources connect. And also, what I'm going to conclude the video on, final conclusion, this has come up a little bit in the September comprehensive astrology and in some of the readings for September. Certain resources or certain things being available in different ways. So you might actually be able to team up with people, and you might be able to achieve certain things in more simple ways. So instead of having that one huge rent obligation to yourself, maybe now you have roommates, okay? And it doesn't have to be that. No, I understand not many people want roommates, but it's just a symbolic example where it's like there are other options for achieving things. Try to not get too stuck in poverty consciousness, and also try to think about how nature or natural resources or natural flow of the universe might be more powerful than like certain deliberate choices or certain, affiliations or contact points with very specifically like dead-end jobs or anything like that. So definitely take a look at what has had its time and what you might be contributing too much of your time to now, when like there's plenty of natural ways for you to do fine with like way more focus on what matters to you. Basically, we have to make sure we're not doing stuff in vain, that we're not out of calibration with the path that the universe can offer to us, like right here, very easily, with a lot of opportunity just available. Okay, but we got to see that, we got to look at it, and we got to also understand what can come and what can't on that path. So anyway, everyone, I think I'm going to conclude on that note. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've so enjoyed talking to you about Uranus retrograde in Taurus and some of the nodal considerations, some of the other astrology transits as well. If you enjoyed this video, check out this channel on Patreon. I have, as I said in the beginning of the video, a lot of wonderful premium content over there, and that is the way that this YouTube channel is possible. So come check that out. You get wonderful premium content, as well as the ability to be a facilitator of this content. And I so appreciate everyone who has supported over there, and thank you so much. Also, your likes, comments, and subscribes here on YouTube are great free ways to support the channel, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful experience. Just a few more live premieres as well in the season of live premieres. There might be like 3 more at the most. So if you've been wanting to make those and haven't had the chance, be sure to come check them out every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. There will not be many more this season, so definitely try to pop by if you can on Friday evenings. So anyway, everyone, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. I will talk to you soon. Bye.